Hello, Booktube, and welcome back. This month in Booktube land, it's Shorty September. So it's a month where you read short fiction, short non-fiction in the region of 50 to 200 pages. So I do a buddy read with my brother every month, and this month was his pick. And he actually picked a short story, which is kind of good thing. I'm currently reading all non-fiction this month, so it's a bit of a change of flavour for me. And this month, my brother picked The Bloody Chamber and Other Short Stories by Alice Cooper, is it? Not Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper is the... not Alice Cooper. This is by Alice Carter. Alice Carter was born... I think she was born World War II times in the 1940s, and she grew up in Sussex. And I believe she did English as a degree, and she became a well-known author. And she was very much a feminist, and what the whole thing about The Bloody Chamber and all the other short stories in this compact novella series is it's kind of retellings of old fables and fairy stories. So it would be like Little Red Riding, Puss in Boots, etc., etc. But she wanted to turn it on its head. So a lot of these stories are quite dark. Some of them are titillating, sensual, sexual. It's very much in that kind of flavour. And yeah, so I can't remember off the top of my head what all the short stories are, so I've got my burner phone out here. It's predominantly about The Bloody Chamber, which is the biggest work of all these little books in here. It's about 1/3 of the book. I think it translates to about 120 pages or whatever. But this is The Bloody Chamber, and it's basically a retelling of Bluebeard. Bluebeard is, I think it's French folklore, I think. I'm not too big up on it. I think it's about a man who murders his wife for money. And I think not knowing Bluebeard's folklore that strongly, I think this is pretty much the same-ish, but at the end, spoilers, her mum shoots Bluebeard in the end. Very contrived ending. I didn't like it. I'll probably say right now, most of these books, bar one, because I found it funny, I don't like it all. I found the writing sometimes just convoluted, very complicated. Some of the line sentence structure just goes on and on and on and on. So it makes it sometimes just nonsensical, like, what have I just read? What have I just read? So I was because it sounds kind of, I'm a fantasy reader, and turning old fables or old folklore on its head and doing a retelling. I'm all up for that, but this book wasn't that for me. It was just a bit of a bear to get through. So The Bloody Chamber was a retelling of Bluebeard, very graphic through it. Titillating, I believe, is the word. The next one is The Courtship of Mr. Lion, which it was a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but I can't tell the difference between the normal Beauty and the Beast, compared to her retelling. And again, it was a lot of nonsensical sentence structure. This is me, not really much of a in-depth book critique of literature. So that was the Courtship of Mr. Lion, which is like a Beauty and the Beast retelling. The next one, again, when I'm going further down, some of these are only like 6 or 7 pages long. So the next one, so you've got The Bloody Chamber, The Courtship of Mr. Lion. The third one is The Tiger's Bride, which is again a kind of retelling of Beauty and the Beast. But this one's got like an added subplot of her father sold her just for money. So again, adding a bit of darkness, to the story of Beauty and the Beast. But again, you've got that problem with convoluted language, in which I couldn't get my head around, and I was just like, I can't wait for this short story to be over. And it was like 20 pages long. The next one I actually found quite funny, quite humorous. It's Puss in Boots. So obviously it's about Puss in Boots. And it's about a man who gets his cat, Puss in Boots. He sends him out to get this virgin so the man can sleep with it. Right? Dark stuff. But at least this one, it was humorous, it was funny. So, you're not supposed to take it utterly serious, in my opinion, anyway. And that's probably the only book I enjoyed out of all these books. And I think the sentence structure, like when I said before, sometimes the sentences just can go on and on and on and on and on. You're like, oh, just put a period in there, please. There was less of that in Puss in Boots. And I believe after Puss in Boots, all the other stories were getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So at least they were quite snappy, I can't click my fingers, so that's pathetic. I just can't do it. The next one is the Ale King. The Ale King is about a love-struck woman who eventually kills the king. Not familiar with the folk tale behind that. Again, I think it was only like 6 or 7, 8 pages long. I was just like, meh, okay, whatever. Didn't do anything for me. The next one is The Snow Child, which is, again, it was really dark. It was about a man who, it was a king who wanted a young magical virgin to sleep with, but his wife got really jealous and she wanted her dead. And she tried a couple of times to kill it, but she never quite got there. And she eventually gave it a rose, and the girl dies by one of the thorns going into her skin. And then when she's dead, the king decides to sleep with her dead body. Again, really dark stuff, quite kind of sick. And I don't mind sick stuff, but not written in this kind of like waxen lyrical kind of way. There's complicated sentence structure, not my cup of tea at all. Okay, that's The Snow Child. The next one was The Lady of the House of Love. This is basically a vampire story of a vampire who wanted to find love. Didn't do anything for me. I believe that was a bit of a chunker as well, about 40 pages. The next one is The Werewolf. There was 2 werewolf Red Riding ones. I think this one was about she wanted the wolf to kill her granny so she could inherit the house. I think it was this one where she wanted the wolf to kill her nan so she could inherit the house. Dark. Meh. The next one is The Company of Wolves, and I think this is the second Red Riding one where she wanted the wolf to kill her granny so she could sleep with the wolf. Dark, weird, yeah. And the last one, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is the 10th short novel of this book, and this is Wolf Alice, where Alice in the story believes that she is a wolf, and then she quickly finds out that she's not a wolf, and at the end she might be a wolf. really convoluted, a lot of these stories. I didn't so much enjoy it. Thank God it was only altogether it was about 220 pages, 230 pages. So at least it was, a bit of a distraction, a bit of a reprieve from reading quite heavy non-fiction. But a lot of that was, not my cup of tea. I just don't like that really nonsensical the way of telling a story where the sentences just don't stop. You just keep on going. You're just like, oh, come on. So my favourite out of them 10 was Puss in Boots because it was funny. If you like the idea of kind of a raunchy, really dark set of non-fiction about fables getting turned on its head, maybe that's for you. Anyway, that is Shorty September. I'm probably not going to do another Shorty September book. Not because of that, because I've got a lot of non-fiction to read. Anyway, I'll speak to you soon. See you later, Booktube.